Welcome to my YouTube channel, Mahendra Speaks. Today we will talk about organizational culture part 2. My name is Mahendra Kane and my objective in life is that the youngsters should see the non-technical side of the job also and live a meaningful life. Before we start, a small token of gratitude to a lot of ideas which I could gather from internet and I used effectively in my presentations. In last part, we talked about the basics of culture and then the two foundations which are required for a great culture, that is leadership and communication. So today we will talk on communication aspect, how to do an effective communication. So what is really effective communication? So effective and communication are the two things which we are talking about. So communication, just as the name says, is just to talk, but when it is effective it has multi dimensions. So the effectiveness of the communication is not just defined by the communication itself, but by the response. How we feel or how you feel when someone talks. That is really important. Not just what was really talked. People may hear your words, but they also feel your attitude. So if your attitude is not right, despite the words being right, it still creates a lot of problems. Effective teamwork always begins and ends with the communication. So if there is no proper communication within the teams, then this can also create a lot of problems. The biggest communication problem is that we do not listen to understand, but always we listen to reply. So we can always see that we are so eager to talk when someone is talking, or we are always told that we should listen, but then we are just keeping quiet for the other guy to complete. And when the other guy completes, we immediately jump and start the discussion. So we are not really stopping and listening to understand, but we are just listening to reply. Effective communication is only 20% of what you know, and basically how you feel others, that is the 80% part. So always remember that there are a lot of things which we don't talk per se from the mouth, but the way other people perceive also makes a lot of difference in the effective communication. So I have a very nice image here which talks about effective communication. So you can see that the first thing where customer described what he really wanted. He wanted to have a jhula on a tree. How the engineer designed it, right? So he cut the tree in half and then he put two supports and he made a jhula. How the sales guy described it. Sales guy always likes to tell grand stories, a lot of big stories, and then he really described that jhula as a golden jhula. Whereas when the project documentation was submitted, it was just blank. Nothing was there. Right? The customer was built, right? The customer was built like a giant wheel. So there was complete miscommunication between all these stages. And finally, when the customer received it, then he told that I really wanted something like this. So it's a very nice image, nice collection of images which talk about what can happen when there are a lot of gaps or communication gaps between the way we talk to each other, right? So do you think this also happens in everyday life, not just in our work area but also in our own life? So it is really not only what we say that matters, but also how we say that really matters. So there was some study done, and when we talk about face-to-face communication, you know, the words we use are really just 7% of what contributes to the communication. Whereas how the way we speak talks about around 38% contributes, and then 55%, that's the biggest thing which really contributes to how our body language is when we are talking to someone. Whereas when we are doing a telephonic communication, 14% of the communication goes to the words we use while communicating, whereas 86% almost is really the way how we are speaking. So it is not just the words but also the how we say it really matter. So what are really the effective, what are the barriers to the effective communication? There are so many barriers, so just I will go through in briefly. So the organizational barriers, if there are two different organizations, then there can be some filters, mental filters, which can stop the communication. Then there are cultural barriers. If a person is from Japan and the other guy is from India, there might be a barrier, right? They are from two different cultures altogether. Then semantic barriers, the way we pronounce few things or the way we understand some words can be different. Then gender barriers, like male and female. Then there are perceptual barriers, the way we perceive few things it might be different in different cultures. Then language barriers, obviously. Emotional barriers. If I am perceiving an emotion in a certain way, but the other guy is not really bothered about that emotion, then there can be a emotional barrier. Environmental barrier, physical barriers, and obviously the personal barriers. So there are a lot of different barriers which can really hinder the communication. Right? It stops it making from a effective communication. So what do? We start with cleaning our mental filters first. Right? See, many times there are a lot of arguments, and surprisingly, both sides are right, but they just fail to see each other's point of views. Like the way it is shown here, the 6 is seen 9 from the other end, and the 9 is seen 6 from the other end. But if both are fighting for the same cause, but they are just at opposite ends, then they can never really reach to a common conclusion. So if we always think of other people from our own mental filters, and then we really are not clear or curious about how the other person can really feel, then this always creates to a lot of problems in effective communication. So what are the ways to effective communication? First is we have to connect with the audience. Unless you connect with the audience, not just giving a speech, but also when you are doing a one-to-one communication. If you are simply staring somewhere else and you are talking to that person, then it is a sign of a disconnect. Use simple words. Like don't many people don't like too many jargons when they are listening and the other person is talking. Body language also creates a big role in any communication. We have to be very clear about what kind of body language we are depicting. Right? The body never lies, although we are lying from the words. We should also show a lot of sensitivity to the culture of the other person, especially if both people are from different cultures altogether. Communication is always a closed loop process, so there has to be feedback. Unless we take the feedback and we just keep on talking, then the other person can get bored and then can lose the interest in talking. We should also seek participation, so by asking a lot of effective questions when the other person is talking, so we don't interrupt, but at the end of the talk, we ask him some questions, and if those questions are in right direction, then the other person feels that really, yes, this person was listening to me. And ultimately, what the summary of the discussion you had with him, if you can do that, then it is really it's cementing a proper effective communication. So these are few tips of having an effective communication. Now, in communication, what really matters apart from speaking is listening. And listening is just not listening to reply, but listening to really understand. So this is where empathy comes into picture. So most people do not listen with intent to understand, but they listen with intent to reply. This we discussed earlier. Now, how empathy can make a difference? So what is really an empathy? Empathy basically is realizing or assuming yourself into the other person's shoes. So how that person can react, how that person is feeling. If you are able to realize his or her emotions, and then talk, then that talks about empathy. So in simple words, the emphatic listening is not just listening with your ears, but also listening with your eyes, listening with your heart. So you really pour out your heart when the other person is talking, right? So what are these effective ways of active listening? So there are 7 key topics. First is obviously you have to be attentive. If you are not being attentive, then there is really no point. Just imagine you are working on a laptop and your wife is telling you something, and you just keep on working on laptop, and imagine what can happen after some time, right? So you have to be attentive when someone is speaking. Then ask open-ended questions. If you ask right questions, then it really makes a difference. Sometimes you also ask probing questions just to encourage the other person to go deep in the talks. If you are not clear, ask for some clarifications. Do paraphrase. So paraphrasing is one of the most important thing in any communication. So paraphrasing is telling the same thing in different way to that person, so that it is kind of acting as a feedback to what he was saying. Be attuned to and reflect the feeling. So if you are not really reciprocating his emotions or her emotions, then it is really difficult to let that conversation going for a long time. If that person is weeping and telling you something very emotional and you started laughing, then how it can feel, right? So same thing. And obviously the end is summarize. If you're not summarizing it properly, then the other person might feel hurt, and then that communication will not become very effective. So these are some simple steps. So even though they feel quite simple, but we many times forget those steps, we many times ignore those steps, and then we end up in a lot of fights and lot of arguments. Another major thing in any communication is body language. As we said earlier, 55% of your communication belongs to the body language part. So, what the body language depicts, that is always the truth. The words can lie, but your body language may not lie every time. So, body language is also much talked about subject in many forums so far. So, I will not delve too much on it. So, basically, the only thing which I feel I should tell you is, whenever we are talking about body language, we should not only see the isolated signals. We should also see the accompanying signals to really understand what body language is. For example, if you see the second image, the guy is closing his hands. So it might be possible that he might be closing the hands just because the AC is too strong in the room. So he is feeling very uncomfortable. He's feeling very cold, right? If you see the second image, the arrogance, it shows that the one hand is always on top of the other. The third is the lady is sitting forward and then closing the hand. So same thing of closing the hands on top of each other, but it is coupled with some other signals which if you don't carefully see, you always think of depicting that as some specific way of body language. So my suggestion is always see many signals which go with the primary signal, and that can really help you analyze the behavior of the person. Effective written communication also another area where a lot of things are or many times the mistakes are done. So let's look at some few things and how we can improve this written communication. So first is know your reader, right? Unless you know your reader, unless you don't know who is your audience, then what is the point in talking or what is the point in writing, right? Plan the contents before starting to write. So unless you plan properly, you will end up wasting a lot of time. Third is use a language you are better at, right? If you are not comfortable writing the sentences, then the other person may not even like it. Next is introduce yourself properly and swiftly. Don't spend too much time in doing that. Remove unnecessary words, sentences. Try to compact the email or try to compact your letter. Avoid jargons, vague terms, ambiguity that can really confuse the person. Don't make that email too colorful, right? People, sometimes they are dazzled by too many colors. Use paragraphs, tables, images very creatively. That will really improve the quality of your email or a letter. Use punctuation marks wisely. Don't put comma and semicolon at wrong places. That can really change the meaning of the sentence completely. Avoid grammatical mistakes. Some people are very particular about the grammar when they look at email. So if that there are a lot of grammatical mistakes, then the impression of the writer is completely gone. Use easily readable fonts, right? The other person has really less time to look at your emails, and if he or she feels that email is too clumsy or the fonts are too illegible, then the interest is gone. Clearly come out with some action plan, really, that who is supposed to do what. That will really emphasize the way the reason for writing the email. Most importantly, ensure that you always attach the correct files. Don't attach some different file which is really not relevant. And always reread your emails, letters before sending. That really helps many times, right? Few thoughts on telephonic communication. So telephonic communication, as we discussed earlier, only 14% is the way we speak, but a lot of other things, the non-verbal things, are really coming out from this telephonic communication. So if we are not attentive while taking a call, we are not. If we are speaking very curtly, very rudely, then that can really put off the other person. You should always ask before you put people on hold. That really shows respect for the other person. Also, don't just put call through. You should always inform that you are putting your call, you are forwarding the call to other. That really helps. Always be prepared for your calls, not just business calls, but also some personal calls, some difficult calls. You should always do some preparation at your. Whenever somebody is giving some messages, take that properly. So these are some few things which are really important for telephonic communication. So always remember that we can make things differently, right? So everything starts always with us, with ourselves, and there is no really magic formula for doing all these things right. If we take care of ourselves the way we are, and if we are doing it properly, then nothing is really difficult to do. So that's it from my end, and I would like to conclude this video with this. So the last thought is, change consciously, but do change when there is still a chance. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Coming up, video number 3, the part number 3 of organizational culture, where we will talk about leadership qualities. Thank you.